Guys, okay, so I picked TPE number 9, which is a little bit different than the other TPEs because this has to do with subject-specific pedagogical skills. I decided to pick visual and performing arts because I'm going into music education, but for anybody else who is in a different subject, I encourage you to look over this presentation because I think that you're going to find some interesting things that you can apply to your own assignment making. So a lot of TPE number 9, as far as visual arts and performing go, have a lot to do with acquiring the knowledge necessary and expertise necessary to convey this information to your students. So we have all earned the degree, we've all become credentialed, we all know what we're talking about, but how are we going to effectively communicate this information to our students, and in what ways can we convey this information so that they can transfer it to their own lives? So this TPE did a great job of talking about the necessity for expressive, skillful performances for musicians, the importance of musicianship all around, making connections between music and other academic disciplines, and of course connecting it on a broader level to other cultures and allowing it to enhance your students' worldview. That's really important, and I think that that's something that can be applied to every subject. Every single subject future teacher that's watching this presentation will relate to that in some way, because we are all trying to make these connections to the outside world and trying to convey our passion for our subject and why it's really important to them, why it's important to your students. So this was a really great, I found a really great article about different approaches and different assessing styles you can do and you can make to see and to gauge how your students are responding to this more creative approach. So in this particular article, it's called One Note at a Time, Approaches and Assessment for Teaching Music Composition at the Secondary School Level. So this had to do with composition assignments and things like that. Now, composition, if you're not a musical person, can be kind of daunting. And even if you are a musical person, it's daunting. I know I have a difficult time with this. So as a high school student, learning how to compose is definitely not an easy task. And so this article does an excellent job of saying, this is a daunting, scary thing, but how are we going to go about it, and how are we going to cater to the students that we have in our classrooms to make it easier for them and to make it exciting and make it creative and make it not as intimidating? So I think it's a really great article, and the importance of checking yourself, checking how the class is responding to your skills, your pedagogical skills, how those are being implemented, and if they're being implemented effectively. So specifically, I think this applies to all TPEs and applies to all teachers. This single subject assignment needs to utilize your pedagogical knowledge as a teacher, your personal experience. So in the visual arts performing realm, that would be my personal performing experiences, my education within the musical field as a student myself, and then how your methods are going to allow for both the instruction of your students, effective instruction, and freedom for them to independently explore, for me, the musical world, which is a beautiful place, and I can't get on that tangent, otherwise I'll talk about the beauty of music forever. So yeah, the importance of utilizing your musicianship and your own education is really important, and finding unique ways to spark creativity and inspiration. I would say you'll see some of my questions down below, but for anybody out there who's watching, who's a single subject, I'm interested to see how or if you're going to incorporate any visual performing arts in your classroom. Perhaps not performing, but how are you going to incorporate that more artistic approach? Because I think that it can be helpful in every subject. So if you are considering doing that, how will you go about that, and what different approaches are you going to take? Also, I asked a question about how you reflect your expertise within the field, how you are, as a single subject teacher, reflecting your passion and the knowledge that you have acquired throughout your own education. So I think that's really important. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope that no matter what subject you are, you can take something from this and apply it to your own subject.